Oh, you
Record to
got it?
cloud.
Okay.
Okay. Welcome everyone to Chaos Magic. Yes, the place to be on a Monday night. I'm ecstatic to have you all here tonight. I don't feel I need to do any BS, don't be mean to each other kind of bullshit. We're all friends here. Um, so no warning, do as thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. If you would, we ask that you read one original and one cover, but if you have something different than that planned, feel free to do as thou wilt. Again, um, Rick Spizak is our first poet of the evening who produced this wonderful book, Stone Poetry, which I highly recommend you get. I got my copy. It has changed my life.
Thank you so
Rick,
much, my friend.
bless us with some words, Rick.
Okay. My first piece, my original, is a piece that I call The Clock. It's about after hours at the office and some of the amazing things that happen. So, the clock. Clocking long hours at the office, I was often treated to quite a ruckus. For what it was worth, I was often stuck, and we had a bit of infestation of mice who were never rude and often nice. They rarely ever stole a lunch, and when they did, they'd leave a little something like a tip. If you let a bit of a sandwich away, it might slip. But never, though they were hoarders, would they ever take even a bit from me. I must have been over their borders. They always left a little fruit to console, something they might wrestle away into their tiny hidey hole, or just a few Cheez-Its on which they might dine on those lazy afternoons when they had extra time. They'd stack those Cheez-Its end on end and topple them off like dominoes deep into their dens. But this particular night, Lara had left a beer, thinking he'd be back to clear away the mess he'd left on his drafting board where absent-mindedly he'd been drawing antique swords. He'd drawn Catanias, he'd drawn Gladiuses, he'd drawn lightsabers like you might have seen at Toys R Us, ninja swords with tactical scabbards, and some like what Vikings might have left in Labrador. He'd draw rapiers, sabers, and cutlasses. He'd sketch scimitars, machetes, basket-hilted fancy ones like you'd see in fencing class. He'd drawn a Hamburg and a Sweethander and a hook sword, but instead the mice turned their attention to the beer. That was where they found their hop's reward. They managed to fill their bottle. One by one they tilted it over until each mouse was roiled, slipped into a clover. Each mouse filled its tummy with the warm golden brew, and satisfied, they sat back, gave a little burp like they were you. They giggled, sniggled, and laughed uproarious, and on this mischievous day some of them, whose name I won't mention, acquired reputations more than a little notorious. The chief mouse among them sauntered over, tipped his cap, and being more than a little tipsy, fell smack in my lap. And since I was working late, I had saved my lunch till late, and from my gorgeous galumping bunch of seedless, I handed him a grape. He gave me a wink, stumbling, made it back to his feet, and hopped back on my drafting board to survey the scene. The rollicking mice mates had tilted the plate and got tangled in plastic wrap and paused breathless to wait. But feeling his responsibility, he turned to his mates, got them to stand up, and began to organize and a bit to relocate. They shoved the wastebasket so the debris would fall into the basket, and since they were still tiny after all, it was more than a tasklet. It was quite an ordeal. No matter how you feel about mice, they have a certain furry appeal. The old squire fell into the peanut butter, and that sure wasn't honey. Although when he wiped his whiskers, it really wasn't funny. I'd clocked my time in the process in rhyme, and I hope it touched your smile this time. And now for a little borrowed. Let's see here. I think I have something that might answer. Let's see. Here we go. Here we go. This is a piece called America. Let's see. This is much better. Blake's Marriage of Heaven and Hell. All Bibles and sacred codes have been the cause of the following errors: that man has two existing principles, a body and a soul. Two, that energy called evil is alone from the body, and that reason called good is alone from the soul. That God will torment men in eternity for following his energies. But the following contraries to these are true. Man has no distinct body apart from his soul, for that called body is a portion of the soul discernible by the five senses, the chief inlets of soul in this age. Energy is the only life, and is from the body, and reason is the bound or outward circumference of energy. Then these last few, heaven and hell. Energy is eternal delight. Those who restrain desire do so because theirs is weak enough to be restrained, and the restrainer, or reason, usurps its place and governs the unwilling. Being restrained, if it is by degrees, becomes passive till it's only the shadow of desire. The history of this is written in Paradise Lost, and the governor, or reason, is called the Messiah, and the original archangel, or possessor of the command of heavenly hosts, is called the devil, or Satan, and his children are called sin and death. But in the book of Job, Milton's Messiah is called Satan. For this history has been adopted by both parties, and it indeed appears to reason as if... Thank you so much. My brother Blake, an inspiration to us all. Thank you, my friends.
Wonderful, wonderful read. Delightful first poem. Loved it. Everything about that. The swords, just everything. People, open your mics. Give some love to Richard Spisak.
Richard. I love
your whimsy, Richard. I absolutely love
you, Richard.
Yeah.
Your
so
wit.
much fun.
Yeah.
And your rhyming.
Inimitable wit.
Beautiful combination.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Okay, next up on the list, we have Paul Skiff. Paul, will you bless us with some words, my great friend?
Yeah, sure.
Delightful.
Let me get out of the open here, if I can. Okay, I can never tell how that's going to work. Let's see. The cover, I'm going to read a short paragraph. It's not poetry. It's actually, dare I say, sociology. And it's from a book called, dare I say, The Social Construction of Reality, published in 1967. And I picked up this book to read when I was like 15 or 16 because I couldn't understand it, and that's why I liked it. This is on the chapter on society as an objective reality, and this is about death. So if you don't want to hear about death, time to mute. A strategic legitimating function of symbolic universes for individual biography is the location of death. The experience of the death of others and subsequently the anticipation of one's own death posit the marginal situation par excellence for the individual. Needless to elaborate, death also posits the most terrifying threat to the taken for granted realities of everyday life. The integration of death within the paramount reality of everyday life and social existence is therefore the greatest importance for any institutionalized order that is going to be internalized by the individual. This legitimation of death is, consequently, one of the most important fruits of symbolic universes. Whether it is done with or without recourse to mythological, religious, or metaphysical interpretation of reality is not the essential question here. The modern atheist, for instance, who bestows meaning upon death in terms of their worldview of progressive evolution or of revolutionary history, also does this by integrating the idea of death within a reality-spanning symbolic universe they use to conceptually maintain their view and equilibrium of everyday life. All legitimations of death must carry out the same essential task, They must enable the individual to go on living in a society after the death of significant others and to anticipate their own death with, at the very least, terror sufficiently mitigated so as not to paralyze the continued performance of the routines of everyday life. So we hide death away in our own explanations of what it means to us. It may readily be seen that such legitimation is difficult to achieve short of integrating the phenomenon of death within a symbolic universe, that is, our own explanation of it to ourselves. Such legitimation, then, provides the individual with a recipe for a correct death. Optimally, this recipe will retain its plausibility when their own death is imminent, and it will allow them, indeed, to die correctly. And I'm going to read a performance piece. So he has a kind of performative element before the actual poem begins. It's about 3 pages long, so it's not exactly short. And this doesn't have a title. Believe in your inferiority, boy. Keep shut your shut mouth, shut boy. Believe in your guilt. Keep shut your shut mouth, shut boy. You are small. Keep shut mouth, shut boy. Your hair is too fine and high up on your forehead. Keep shut mouth, boy, shut boy. Your answer, your mama too fast. Shut your lips are like a girl's. You are more smart than you are strong. Shut boy, you are faster than you are mean. Shut boy, you are mean more than you say. Shut up boy, you say more than we think. Shut up, keep shut your shut mouth, shut boy, you are too quiet when we cut you down. Keep shut your mouth, boy. You don't know your place, boy. Keep shut mouth, shut boy. The world is gonna push you aside, boy. The world is gonna keep your pockets empty and drive a fist against your heart, boy. You're shut boy, shut up, boy. Believe in your inferiority. I fight from the inside out, not the outside out. My body is a doorway jammed open. My body is just the searing sweetness that comes from all ripe fruit. Light bouncing off water whispers its luminosity through my bones. The life of Second Street is my sanctuary, its abandonment where I harbor my name with the senses that violence and aggression will not seal. Birthing the sun in me is the blind man's horizon, welcomed with rhapsodies orchestrated by the earless. I was not born a living creature, but was yelled out of my mother's throat as a proclamation of freedom. In my blood, I feel the earth till, like an animal, intuits the season to leave. Migration of the universe that gave me my mouth flies beneath my flesh. Spirit's orchestra that now loudens real life of my dreams and visions to celebrate. Sky accepts bitching, then absorbs anger into gratification. Earth swallows the corpse, then sends flesh back as diamonds. Wind gathers the building tops, then splits aluminum into music. Among broken architecture embraced by minor chords, I perform the marriage ceremony entered by objects and disappearance, resilient vows. My thoughts are mothered in shadows in the junkyard, by fire on the far side of the river. What combusts across the distance? Dark cotton garments wrapped upon irreverence, curative light searing a hole in the nightmare, precautions for how to survive trust abandoned to suffer, perfect distraction, feeble prey inside the head of man. Death with lips tautened in climax washes burial tools under my blood. The elegy I learned was gavel cough of the poor in the street. We play the same version of mumbly peg with our eyes, flip precise measures of balance, metal blades, deep respect, suspend advantage on hazard, made from portion of necessity, impossible to search with fear. For all chance, I wear the grin of the space between 2 seconds, which has no name, my duration protected by finality, delivered with the speed of a blown fuse, by length of time it takes a child to grow up in their own mind, guarded by broken edge of half-thought that rides with death to feed pure oxygen into invisibility of giving up. I love you after everyone else has fucked you. Want to arrive too late to receive the message you kissed the third rail. So loss will replace object with liberty. I want to be stolen from, that I cross back to what I was. And I could lie to you about what I was. I could say I was Antonin Artaud's pencil, but I am red paint on the firehouse door. I could mark darkness and light around what you are, saying I was the blind poet Homer's Cain, but I am the shadow of a rat passing over dried blood of a young MC seeped into grains of cement on the curb in front of the New Yorican Poets Cafe. I could caress history's passion onto your body and say I was the dark, warm stone on Sappho's vulva ring. But I am longevity in an old woman's bent spine that sent River's voice to rhyme against the bridge. You can't prey on me. You can't prey upon an emotion invulnerable for never having been shared, so the vicious and mean profit futility where possession and ownership are confused into bright flashes by lack of purpose. Don't squint to grab at a second guess, hey, that is the human world devouring you with its cheap shit, with its brutality, with ignorance, with enlightenment, which empowers in proportion to its materialist adulation and vulgarity. Morning comes too soon. Hand down your pants before you can say no. Remaining like you, detached and fugitive, I too have been pulled out into the ocean year by year. But I am inventing new holidays. Don't call anyone back day. Realize happiness in being alone and not speaking a single word to anyone week. Accumulate as much aliveness as possible that cannot be taken away from me month. Take an expensive bottle of champagne, spill a spot on the breakwater, then hurl the luxury far out into the East River under midnight in celebration for letting 100 fiery voices loose on America's Cartoon Heart Day. National, slowly insert your tongue in the ear of the person who brings an ice cube chocolate amaretto cake, whipped cream, and 2 dog collars to bed, saying they love you night. provoking them to climax a third time optional. How about international? Embrace the world in all of its horror day. Staring at the repetitious images of depredation unnecessary because from first-hand knowledge, we know beauty is not a thing that exists. That is right. I agree with you. I agree. Beauty is not a thing that exists, and if it were, it would be quarantined. Beauty is not a thing that exists, but a person can still live in it. You can't push all of the sirens of emotional starvation up the vulva my mother gave me and then turn the famished arguments on, hey? If you think you were born to rob away all my possibilities, if you think you were given some legal power to abuse and control me, if you think you can suck my brains out the side of my head, do it now. That is right. That is right. Otherwise, that is right. You should keep your fucking mouth shut.
Yes.
Yeah, Paul, wow, that is
Oh.
why you are known as the Jedi Master.
Dude,
You run things on the Lower East Side, my friend. Wow.
oh my God. So Paul, you were like a delightfully subversive Scheherazade. You are like more performance art than poet. You're poet, but you're like it totally approaches performance art. I want to elect you to office and have you filibuster with that shit, man. It was brilliant.
Wow, that's a big endorsement. Thank you so much, Whisper.
Everybody open your mics and give some love to Paul.
Yeah. Woo.
Oh. Always good to hear you.
Okay, next up on the mic, we have Generalissimo Brian Franco, who I have had the pleasure of meeting in New York City for Poetry Fest, which, by the way, I highly recommend you all come. It's in July, at the end of July, beginning of August. Poetry Fest is in New York City, where Paul Skiff resides. Everybody give it up for Generalissimo. Let's go, Generalissimo.
Thank you.
Generalissimo.
Thank you so much, Gustav. I just want to say that I'm going to read two of my own poems from my book, Everything I Think Is All in My Mind. And in a way, I am covering myself when I do something that was written long ago and a different when they were written. They were written from a state of mind that I was in at those times. So to read them again, it's going to be a different story a little bit for me. The first is called The Secret to Surviving Sinkholes. It seemed to happen so organically. I decided to stay in bed more than 5 minutes, then 10 minutes, then an hour, and so on and so forth. Tears happened for no discernible reason, out of the blue, without warning, without trigger, without help. I would have stayed in bed. The sudden sadness didn't just happen, it manifested. It was waiting in the wings to throw me the worst kind of surprise party. No people, no presents, no cake, but plenty of candles to burn down my life, my self-esteem, my sense of worth. Without help, I would have accepted the storyline. The bed told me that it was the safest place for my existence. But a bed that talks is the voice of depression. Depression can seem like a cul-de-sac sinkhole that sucks in a car parked on the street, consumes a fire hydrant, takes a bite of sidewalk, then attacks a front yard, working its way up a walkway to the front door, It politely rings the doorbell before swallowing the door. A family of 4 and 2 dogs have to escape through the backyard, abandon everything they own, even cars, because the sinkhole expanded westward, engulfing the driveway. The inestimable speed of a sinkhole acts like depression when the word chemical is bandied about by a doctor, but no words used by doctors are bad words. Some words are just crutches, something temporary till the person who listens to their bed instead of their head starts recognizing the existence of their heart, their skin, their soul. Their peripheral vision is hampered by a hoodie the bed gave them as a gift at the surprise party. That surprisingly never ended. But now the owner of the bed has asked for help. I learned I can yell surprise at the bed, get up, and walk away. And then this piece is called, it's also in my book, Everything I Think Is All in My Mind, How to Turn Your Home into an Indoor Amusement Park. When dizzy happens, you might sit or lie down to stop the room from spinning, but when life continues to spin out of control, everything that seems to be on a forward trajectory can act as a doorstop for everything else. Your overwhelmness becomes a tumor hidden beneath your skin no one knows about unless they touch you, but you have successfully blocked touch by allowing unlimited Reiki or denying fingertip access with a level of deftness that has them avowing how smooth your skin is. The fog released from the breath of your words is a barrier that blocks their sense of touch from knowing it has not achieved touching. You can be as disoriented as possible while tricking the world. Your life is an Olympic perfect 10 balance beam routine because the gymnast on the beam is a hired ringer with your face temporarily tattooed to theirs. Every room in your house is a different dizzying ride, playground roundabout, spinning teacups, tilt-a-whirl, G-force astronaut training exercise. You think if you practice enough, you'll become dizzy tolerant, but when you're punch drunk dizzy more often than not, your tolerance will only be visible in the funhouse mirror you use while shaving away yesterday's bad decisions. Every new today in which you find yourself existing. Thank you.
Oh, so many great lines. Oh my God, shaving away yesterday's bad decisions. Wow, the bed told me it was the safest place, speaks to me. You wouldn't even know. Oh, Generalissimo, open your mics and give some love to Generalissimo.
That was
Yeah.
Scott Aaron, that was awesome.
Wow.
so poignant. Thank you.
Yeah, you should cover yourself more frequently.
Huh.
Covered or uncovered, you rock, Generalissimo. Next
Hey, look
up,
who just popped in the room.
I know, yes, it's Catalyst.
My co-host.
Yes.
Hey.
Hi, everybody. We pulled
Hi.
over to do some poetry with ya.
Wonderful. Would you like to get on the list sooner than later?
Why don't you let her go now? Because her battery, you may have battery issues. Why don't you let her go ahead and go? And that way, if her battery runs
Good
low.
point. Good point. We're going to break from the list to give Catalyst a slot here.
Oh, thank you guys.
Are you ready?
I am ready. I have a original and a cover. I met a fella named Miles today, and he was feeding the crows, and he's a poet, so he gave me one of his poems, which I'm still rummaging around for here, but I'll read my poem first. So we were sitting there with the cats, and he was sitting there with his crows. A clouder rolls in, stays for a while, hearing the cause, seeing the miles, We learn about color, direction, and truth. We absorb the knowledge deep into youth. The blackest of clouds watches over the bunch while the popcorn is enjoyed. Crunch, crunch, crunch. So that was the first one. And I think we just had a thing happen. So can you guys come back to me for my other cover in a few minutes?
Yes, we will come back to you. Of course we will.
Thank you.
Next up on the list is Whisper Poet. Yeah. Psyched to hear what you're bringing tonight.
So I'm going to start off with my cover, and I am going to read to you a snippet of Dr. Seuss, Oh, the Places You'll Go. All right. You will come to a place where the streets are not marked. Some windows are lighted, but mostly they're darked. A place you could sprain both your elbow and chin. Do you dare to stay out? Do you dare to go in? How much can you lose? How much can you win? And if you go in, should you turn left or right? Or right and 3/4, or maybe not quite? Or go around the back and sneak in from behind? Simple it's not, I'm afraid you will find, for a mind maker upper to make up his mind. You can get so confused that you'll start in to race down long wiggled roads at breaknecking pace and grind on for miles, cross weirdish wild space, headed, I fear, towards a most useless place, the waiting place, for people just waiting, waiting for a train to go, or a bus to come, or a plane to go, or the mail to come, or the rain to go, or the phone to ring, or the snow to snow, or the waiting around for yes or no, or waiting for their hair to grow. Everyone is just waiting, waiting for the fish to bite, or waiting for the wind to fly a kite, or waiting around for Friday night, or waiting perhaps for their Uncle Jake, or a pot to boil, or a better break, or a string of pearls, or a pair of pants, or a wig with curls, or another chance. Everyone is just waiting. No, that's not for you. Somehow you'll escape all that waiting and staying. You'll find the bright places where the boom bands are playing. With banner flip-flapping, once more you'll ride high, ready for anything under the sky, ready because you're that kind of guy. Oh, the places you'll go. There is fun to be done. There are points to be scored and games to be won. And the magical things you can do with that ball will make you the winningest winner of all. Fame. You'll be as famous can be, with the whole wide world watching you win on TV. Except when they don't, because sometimes they won't. I'm afraid that sometimes you'll play lonely games too, games you can't win, because you'll play against you. All alone, whether you like it or not. Alone will be something you'll be quite a lot. And when you're alone, there's a very good chance you'll meet things that scare you right out of your pants. There are some down the road between hither and yon that can scare you so much you won't want to go on. But on you will go, though the weather be foul. On you will go, though your enemies prowl. On you will go, though the hack and cracks howl. Onward up many a frightening creek, though your arms may get sore and your sneakers may leak. On and on you will hike, and I know you'll hike far and face up to your problems, whatever they are. You'll get mixed up, of course, as you already know. You'll get mixed up with many strange birds as you go. So be sure when you step with care and great tact, and remember that life's a great balancing act. Just never forget to be dexterous and deft, and never mixed up your right foot with your left. And will you succeed? Yes, you will, indeed. 98.75% guaranteed. Kid, you'll move mountains. So be your name Bucksbaum or Bixby or Bray or Mordecai Ali Van Allen O'Shea. You're off the great places. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting. So get on your way. Dr. Seuss. Gotta love some Seuss. Okay, so this one is rough. It needs editing, but I'm feeling whimsical. You know, thank you, Richard, for starting out on whimsy, because I'm just going to continue that vibe. This is called Sour Girl. The yogurt in my fridge says expired, as in no longer fresh. What would happen if I consume past the do not consume past this date? It's a little scary, to be honest. I mean, we all know what can happen when you eat something bad. Bad things happen. I sniffed the yogurt and glanced down into the cup, separated and chunky looking with a light yellow liquid floating on top. Not appetizing at all. And I wonder, am I like that yogurt? Have I expired? Gone sour and never to return? Does he look at me with suspicion of what he will find should he lift my lid? I mean, I'm 54, and there are most definitely things I can't do anymore. The mind is willing, but the body might be past my use-by date. I'm not sure myself, but I'm afraid he might be afraid to find out. I've always been fixated on what he thinks of me, but I'm starting to care more about what we aren't meant to be. And maybe it isn't just me who's past my expiration. Maybe it's him, and he's just not in my flow. Can't see me as his inspiration. And that's okay. He needs to seek his transcendence from a transponder emitting less static. I'm only trying to be here if my brand of yogurt trips his trigger, make him scoop me up like an addict. I may be 54 and I may be old and gray, but I've still got moves in the old girl that will make him cry and beg for that expiration date. Thanks, y'all.
Now,
Wonderful. Great Dr. Seuss read. Loved, like, cherished part of my childhood you were reading there. Everybody give it up for Whisper Poet.
Thanks, y'all.
Whisper.
That's
Yeah.
a real
Love the
poet.
Seuss.
Somebody who can make a poem out of spoiled yogurt. That takes talent, and I'm not joking.
Indeed.
And that last line of that yogurt poem, that is priceless. But you
Back
know,
for the expiration date.
I felt like the first part of that Dr. Seuss book was all about anxiety. It just sounded like something you couldn't read to a child today, because children today start having anxiety at age 3. And if they heard the words, it would be like, the end is wonderful, but the beginning is like, oh my God. It's kind of weird. But I think, wouldn't it be fun to have just a Dr. Seuss night where everybody reads Seuss?
Yeah.
Brilliant
Oh, yeah.
idea.
That's a great idea. Actually, yes.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I have a feeling that Chaos Magic is going to encourage people to bring their favorite Dr. Seuss piece for next week. What do you say, people?
Yeah. Can we make it
Yeah.
a pajama party with hot cocoa?
Ooh, sure.
I don't know, Magus. I think I have to get my mom's permission.
Whisper Poet, are you gonna have marshmallows for the hot chocolate?
I will definitely provide the marshmallows if Sophia promises to bring stuffies. I don't have any stuffies, and I'm like jealous now. So
What's a stuffy? I don't know what a stuffy is.
like stuffed animals,
Like
stuffies.
plushies
Oh,
or stuffed animals, plushy toys. Yeah.
oh yeah, but your stuffed animals make little stories and
Yeah.
you
Well, Jules went fishing today. He was gone fishing today. Yes, at the creek. So,
I need a squishmallow. Do you have squishmallows? I need a squishmallow.
Okay. Next up, I want to give a special shout out to this poet. Poet Sophia Falco has been in the background as co-host tonight, doing the work, putting the effort in to make Chaos Magic magical for you all. Let's give it up for poet Sophia Falco first. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
No problem. I have one poem to read of mine, and then I'll read a cover. That's a song I've been kind of emotional lately, so we'll see. I don't know where these will lead us, but I'm not sure. So I guess we'll just go for it. Yeah. Yeah, you know, I have a lot of sadness in me, but anyways. But we're gonna go for it. But I'm very proud of this poem. It was published by the autoethnographer and it's in my third book, Chronicles of Cosmic Chaos in the Fourth Dimension. And so this is a safe group, so if I'm thank you, Nemo, for holding it up. He's got the book. Sweet. So anyways, here we go. Spectator. The era of simplicity no longer stands, as I am in the stands, merely a spectator, watching myself, dressed and undressed, trying to decipher in the mirror if I somewhat resemble a man wearing my flannel deemed lumberjack shirt as a joke, as a power move, but owning no dresses. And as I dress myself, I think maybe my face, yet I don't want to admit confusion. But when my gender gets questioned, the dominoes fall. The past falls backwards, not spring forwards, never feminine enough. Yet feeling powerless, I would rather have the power a man does, but would never want to be one. While women are so beautiful, their breasts, my breast, wishing to consensually touch another woman's breast, whereas my chest holds fear. Too, my lungs less air as anxiety rises. I dislike mirrors. I hate seeing myself in photographs, and as I stand there is more than the physical, but distance upon distance, guarded upon guarded. The shield was too fierce. It cracked under its own weight. This body feels too heavy, while this mind is trying to withstand the test of time or the wall. There's a mirror. Mirrors are man-made, and I didn't make it a point to ponder the binaries, the blurring, the defining, the undefining, when all I want is to embody a woman and be with a woman, saluting and unsaluting. The mirror, check yourself before you wreck yourself, a man would say, versus the lemon test. However, the test lies before my very own eyes. Thank you. It's the first poem. And then moving on to the cover, it was this cool song. I just was on shuffle that moved me today. I think the title's in French, but it's in English, and it's translated like a little story. I don't even want to try to say it in French, but because I don't speak French. Raconte moi une histoire, whatever, a little story. I send it
May
to,
I?
yes,
Raconte-moi une histoire.
yes, love it.
Raconte-moi une histoire.
This song almost made me cry this morning, but I want to read it. This is the cover. I know I sent it to a few people in this room, but I thought I would just read it today. I heard about this frog. It's a very tiny frog, but it's also very special. You can only find it in the jungle so far away from me. But if you can find it, and if you touch it, your world can change forever. If you touch its skin, you can feel your body changing and your vision also. And blue becomes red and red becomes blue, and your mommy suddenly becomes your daddy, and everything looks like a giant cupcake. And you keep laughing and laughing and laughing. Nothing is ever quite the same, really. And after you finish laughing, it's time to turn yourself into a frog. It's time to turn into a frog yourself. It's very funny to be a frog. You can dive into the water and cross the rivers and the oceans, and you can jump all the time and everywhere. Do you want to play with me? We can be a whole group of friends, a whole group of frogs, jumping into the streets, jumping into the planet, climbing up the buildings, swimming in the lakes and in the bathtubs. We would be hundreds, thousands, millions, the biggest groups of friends the world has ever seen, jumping and laughing forever. It would be great, right? And the band is a M83. Thank you.
Fantastic read,
Yeah,
Sophia.
superb,
Wonderful.
More.
Beautiful.
superb read. Yes, I love the song too. You sent it to me today, and I listened to it a bunch today. Very impressive. Thank you, Sophia Falco. Next up, we have Nemo Soom. Nemo, would you bless us with some words?
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Sophia, for sending me that song. I love that album, and it got me listening to it again today, and then my daughter as well. So, okay. I'm going to read a poem that was published 185 years ago, and it's called "A Song, Men of England" by Percy Shelley. But I think, though it's written Men of England, I think this is applicable to a lot of us today, still 185 years later. Men of England, wherefore plough for the lords who lay ye low? Wherefore weave with toil and care the rich robes your tyrants wear? Wherefore feed and clothe and save from the cradle to the grave those ungrateful drones who would drain your sweat, no, drink your blood? Wherefore bees of England forge many a weapon, chain, and scourge, that these stingless drones may spoil the forced produce of your toil? Have ye leisure, comfort, calm, shelter, food, love's gentle balm? Or what is it ye buy so dear with your pain and with your fear? The seed ye sow, another reaps. The wealth ye find, another keeps. The robes ye weave, another wears. The arms ye forge, another bears. Sow seed, but let no tyrant reap. Find wealth, let no impostor heap. Weave robes, let not the idle wear. Forge arms in your defense to bear. Shrink to your cellars, holes, and cells. In hall ye deck, another dwells. Why shake the chains ye wrought, ye see? The steel ye tempered, glance at ye. With plow and spade and hoe and loom, trace your grave and build your tomb, and weave your winding sheet till fair England be your sepulchre. And then I would like to read a collaboration that I did with the Megas. This is Neurodivergent Verses.
Follies and fallacies, defying analyses, dreams and illusions, powerful delusions, the seeds of destruction, undermine your construction, enter at your own risk, erase the hard disk, leave a message at the tone, then please put down your fucking phone, lather, rinse, repeat, refuse to accept defeat, stop to see the beauty around you, don't let the bastards confound you, believe in yourself, it's the only way, suffer no fools, and live for today. I'm neurodivergent, I'm the Godhead emergent.
Endless emergencies, pointless insurgencies. In a state of confusion, it is all a delusion. Why accept the vain seduction when all that comes is soul reduction? The vows they speak are asterisked. Your friends will all be stopped and frisked. These golems made of flesh and bone, would like to buy an ice cream cone. Only with your guests replete can you hit the big delete. Someday these ties will no longer bind you. Until that day, let the good leaf unwind you. It's upside down, the acrobats say, illuminated by yesterday. I'm neurodivergent, the garbage phoenix resurgent.
Blindly following, pig-like wallowing, climb out of the sty. Don't be that guy. Put down the shit sandwich. Adopt a new plan which will help us overcome. There's no rule of thumb. Bring peace to all lovers as the UFO hovers and aliens beckon. It's true, I reckon, that love conquers all. Winter, spring, summer, fall. A plan for all seasons with no rhyme or reasons. I'm neurodivergent. My words are urgent.
Like a bird on the wing, learn to dance, learn to sing. It doesn't matter how high you fly. Your body falls down the day you die. Now you're stuck in a ditch. Well, ain't that a bitch? Your comeuppance has come. You cannot say that you're stunned. It's under your covers. It starts with our mothers. The show begins in a second. To the stage I am beckoned. These walls will fall. They'll be having a ball. The goth girls are grieving. These fields aren't Elysian. I'm neurodivergent. Ley lines convergent.
Transphobia stupid. Arrows from Cupid pierce your heart. Now where to start? Love knows no gender. Refuse to surrender to the mindless hatred. Is nothing sacred? Feel it in your bones. For that love you Jones. Try to remember January to December, all the year round. Fall into the sound of love made manifest. Trust me, it's the best. My neurodivergent love song is all right. It's never wrong.
Your line has been muted. Your rug has been scooted. Your scandalous art is coming apart. You've been on a bender, now you're stuck to a fender. Feeling raw, being naked, your flaws are paraded. On and on with their baloney. Their heads are full of mascarpone. Some you chop and some dismember. Burn it all and smell the ember. When the drinks are finally downed, they'll find an old queen, newly crowned, thick of neck and slight of wrist, the #1 somnambulist. This neurodivergent love story has come to a close in all its glory.
The poem is done.
And we've rocked to the core.
We hope you've had fun. Because there ain't any more. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
I gotta say, Nemo, that poem was so much fun to write with you. I love that poem. I'm really super proud of it. You were a great collaborator to work with.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I love performing it every time we get a chance. So
cheers. Everybody open your mics for Nemo Soom.
Nemo.
It's always good to end a poem with a taunt.
Awesome read, Nemo.
Good, Nemo.
Fantastic on the Shelley as well.
Okay, next up, if you're done with your chicken soup.
Yes.
Yes.
I am
Debbie
so
Segal,
nervous.
will you bless us with some words?
I am so nervous because I'm going to sing something as my cover, but it's going to go right along with my what I'm going to read from my novella, Edwin in the Embrace of Entropy. Y'all have been part of this journey, and I've been reading excerpts of it. I don't know if you can see this, but that's an image my daughter drew of the Campanile, which is a major, what is it called? Landmark in Berkeley, California. It's the campus clock tower, and I'm showing you that picture because it's kind of a magical reality in which the clock tower carillon plays some rock music and some soul music from time to time. So in this scene, our main characters are just getting to know each other, sitting on campus. They had heard an Eagles song playing out of the clock tower a moment ago, and now they're just having a cigarette and talking. And it's Berkeley, California in 2012. And I'll just jump right into the middle of a passage. What would Mom say if she knew? He kisses his fingers and touches his heart. She's in a better place now. Barb gasps. She died 10 years ago, a heart attack. I was 9. Edwin unbuttons his shirt and reveals a farm boy's chest, strong and tan, adorned with a crude tattoo of a Valentine encircling the word Mom. I'm so sorry. Barb's heart goes out to this kid. Don't be sorry, bad Barb. Be silly. She was the best mom and best lady ever. She taught me to play chess, to swim, and to question authority. He sighs. She was a big lady with a big, beautiful heart. If she didn't die, I suppose she'd be around your age now. I'm 52. They sit cross-legged on the steps facing each other. Listen, that sounds like that Eagles ballad my mom used to like. Do you hear that music? Edwin looks toward the campanile. Soft, vaguely familiar pop music sounds fill the campus air. It's about a cowboy who can't be loved. It's about being alone in the world, Barb adds. She hums along in a quiet contralto to Desperado. And this is where I start my cover. Pardon me for a minute. Desperado, why don't you come to your senses? You've been out riding fences for so long now. Oh, you're a hard one. I know that you got your reasons. These things that are pleasing you can hurt you somehow. Don't you draw the queen of diamonds, boy. She'll beat you if she's able. You know the queen of hearts is your best bet. Now it seems to me some fine things have been laid upon your table, but you only want the ones that you can't get. Desperado, oh, you ain't getting no younger. Your pain and your hunger, they're driving you home. And freedom, oh, well, that's just some people talking. Your prison is walking this world all alone. Don't your feet get cold in the wintertime? The sky won't snow and the sun won't shine. It's hard to tell the nighttime from the day. You're losing all your highs and lows. Ain't it funny how the feeling goes away? Desperado, why don't you come to your senses? Come down from your fences. Open the gate. It may be raining, but there's a rainbow above you. You better let somebody love you. Let somebody love you. You better let somebody love you before it's too late. Thanks.
I hope you will let us love on you, Debbie. Yeah, well played. Brilliant song, brilliant excerpt. Edwin in the Embrace of Entropy. Can't wait to get my copy. I'm looking forward to it. Show us once again the book and put the information in the chat.
Well, my author copies just arrived, so I promised you a signed one. So obviously I'll have to get your mailing address, Gustav.
We'll do that.
Thank you.
Yes. Everybody open your mics for Debbie Segal, please. Give it up.
That was a great way to perform the excerpt of the book.
It was awesome. Great.
Beautiful.
Great, Debbie.
Oh.
Really moving.
Okay, wonderful. Next up, Martin Parker, Parquillian. We are delighted to have you here with us. Please, will you bless us with some words?
Sure thing. Thank you so much, Magus. The poem I wrote over the weekend I want to read reminded me of this old poem by Thomas Hardy. It's called The Ghost of the Past. We two kept house, the past and I, the past and I tended while it hovered nigh, leaving me never alone. It was a spectral housekeeping where fell no jarring tone, as strange and still a housekeeping as ever has been known. As daily I went up the stair and down the stair, I did not mind the bygone there, the presence once to me, its moving meek companionship I wished might ever be. There was in that companionship something of ecstasy. It dealt with me just as it was when first its prospects gave me pause in wayward wanderings before the years had torn old troths, as they tear all sweet things, before gaunt griefs had torn old troths and dulled old rapturings. And then its form began to fade, its gentle echoes faintlier played at eves upon my ear. Then when the autumn look embrowned the lonely chambers here, the autumn's settling shades embrowned nooks that it haunted near. And so with time my vision less, yet less and less, makes of that past my house mistress. It dwindles in my eye, it looms a far-off skeleton, and not a comrade nigh, a fitful far-off skeleton, dimming as days gone by. And then my new poem from this weekend, Visitor from the Past. I sat upon a wooden bench as mist swirled round the nearby trees. Beyond this haunted, hidden road, I'd traveled along for days, followed by a phantom form adorned in rather ancient garb, with veils that hid a face that seemed familiar in some way. And now I sat beside this ghost, a silent witness to the past, whose visage did then slowly turn to cast on me her gaze. Sad visions flashed within my mind of wandering downtown Dayton streets in search of colored transfer slips that others cast away, until her freedom was confined to that asylum outside town. Her daughter, my grandma, told not to return and keep her children at home. And that's about my mother's mother's mother. Thank you very much.
Great read. Everyone open your hearts, open your mics for Martin Parker Parquillian.
Great job,
Beautiful.
Martin.
Beautiful, Martin.
Wow.
Like
me
the
know.
cover too.
Hey, word to koalas.
Okay, next up on the mic, I'm delighted to have Marilee Johnson with us tonight. Very excited to hear what you're bringing for us. Share your magic with us, will you?
Thank you. I feel like I've sort of been shopping around the same group of poems this week at a few different open mics. So maybe I will share one of those and a couple others I've just been kind of dabbling with. I was really concerned about the Mexico City water situation where the rich people get water and the other people have to struggle just to get water. So I wrote a haiku. Mexico City, water for the rich, pretend you're a daisy. And then I started thinking, what if the whole world ran out of water? So future Earth, no water, empty plastic water bottles. And maybe I'll revisit this one piece that I sort of added a little bit more to from last time, or at least from other open mics this week, which probably you all attended one or the other. So I've been looking for affordable housing. Here's one. Kaibo for rent on 1 acre. Good build addition for bed and hot plate. No paved sidewalk, that's okay. I wonder if it comes with flowers and maybe a fountain with a sculpture PM and maybe a goldfish pond and a pony in the backyard. Yes, this really sounds like the place for me. Thank you. I guess I'll just leave it there today. Thanks for listening.
That's it? You sure you don't have one more?
I think you might be muted.
You can't hear me?
Gustav, I see your lips moving, but I don't hear anything.
Really? You can't, can anybody else hear me?
I can hear you, Gustav,
hear you.
and I can hear
you
Mary
both.
Lee.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Mary Lee. I'm sorry you can't hear me.
We can't hear what you're saying. At least I can't. Maybe it's just me.
I think it's just
It's
her.
just you, Marilee. Check your settings. Can you hear us or just not Gustav?
I
We're
can't
talking.
see anybody. I can't hear anybody. Maybe it's just
Maybe,
me.
maybe it's your headpiece.
It's you. It's you.
It's me. Okay, sorry. I'm pumping up the volume.
It's okay. It's okay. No worries. Next up on the mic, we have Terry Rose Jertson. We're delighted to have you with us tonight. Can you share your magic with us, please?
Takes me a minute to get back. I'm having some technical difficulties, not with this room, but I need somebody. I'm gonna cry out for help right now instead of reading a poem. I need somebody to help me figure out why when I post an event to Facebook, and it's a Facebook, I guess, event, it's fine. But if I try to get that same event on Instagram with a link, it causes all kinds of problems. Is that normal?
I can't figure out how to use Instagram for shit. So
Instagram is a
Instagram.
red hot mess.
Because I create a lot of things on Instagram, and if I create it on Instagram and then I have a link, it works. But if it's like PC and Mac when they first came out, the two can't ever like collaborate. I thought maybe I'm just computer illiterate and I can't figure it out.
I've never seen a link on Instagram, and I've never been able to place a link on Instagram.
I've had a hard time figuring that out and have had no success doing it either. I just type in what the link is, and people
And
have
then you
to
can't
copy
click
and
on it because
paste.
it's not clickable.
Yeah, right. It's not a direct URL click through.
So
Yeah, you
yeah, if
can't put a
anybody can
link
figure that
directly
out,
in a
please
post.
hit me up. Send me a message.
And I've
You
seen
can't put a
people
link in a post.
put links
Only a
there,
story.
so I don't know how they do it.
Yeah. There's a way to do it if you're creating something in Instagram for a story. But then if you save it as a post, all of a sudden the link doesn't work anymore. Like I need help.
Right. You can't put links in posts the way they have it set up right now.
They're so stupid.
It's
Anyway,
stupid.
all right.
Yes.
It's just for funny videos, it seems to me, but that's just me.
Okay. All right. So I'm in my notes. Okay. What do I have? I have some. By the way, I have a feature tomorrow at time to arrive, and that's what I was trying to get out there. So if anybody's around and you're not doing anything at 9 p.m. Eastern or 6 p.m. Pacific time, that's where I'm going to be at. Okay. Come have some fun. Here we go. My favorite flower used to be calla lilies. The shape imitating the curves of a woman and honoring her most delicate parts, forever captured in Georgia O'Keeffe paintings, but they've become so cliche. I love the scent of roses, but I don't want to smell like them. Not to be worn as perfume. I once read a book called Perfume about a man who literally was on the search for a scent so irresistible that he murdered for it. He had no odoriferous secretions of his own, and he was outcast, despised, living in the shadows because of it. How precious is this sense of sense that we take for granted until we get a cold. There are untold scents that I love. I crave the crispness of lemons, worship the sweetness of lilacs, chase the citrus of sunflowers, float in the clouds with heavenly hyacinths, close my eyes, breathing in deeply the calming effects of lavender, awake to the freshness of daisies, and reinvent myself with the resilience of lilies. My wedding bouquet was made of white roses and blue hyacinths. The pairing of the two filled my nostrils, embedding indefinitely, infinitely, I have indefinitely, I don't know which one of those was supposed to be, in my brain, an intoxicating memory that I hated to throw away. You
Is
want
that
one
all
more?
you have for us tonight?
I mean, I could do one more.
You could
This
do
is-
one more.
My mother is my muse. I don't know about any of you, but my mother is my muse, and she's in all over the place, and she pops in and out of all my works. So here's another one with mom. My mom used to get her palms read. She would be mum about the fortune, but would give mine a look. She used to tell me that when she saw my lifeline that I would live to be a very old lady. She also would say about my love line that I would break many hearts. Not sure if I should believe that, because I think that was their part. I looked at my own palm with suspicion and once again questioned something my mother once told me. When I see a short line broken off by many other short lines, was she trying to spare me the truth? One comfort is knowing that these lines change daily, so the hope is there to improve the chances of fate. If a longer life is what you seek, for now, I will use my hands to make peace.
Yeah, everybody open your mics, give it up for Terry Rose Jertson.
Nice work, Terry.
Thanks, Terry.
Wonderful.
Indeed. Okay, next up and last to the mic, unless we decide to have a second round, which I'm putting out there. If people want to put it in the chat that you're up for it, is Frog Corpse. Frog, will you bless us with your magic? Yes.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. Cover. William Blake. London. I wander through each chartered street, near where the chartered Thames does flow, and mark in every face I meet marks of weakness, marks of woe, and every cry of every man, and every infant's cry of fear, and every voice, and every band, the mind-forged manacles I hear. How the chimney sweepers cry, every blackening church appalls, and the hapless soldier's sigh runs in blood down palace walls. But most through the night streets I hear how the youthful harlot's curse blasts the newborn infant's tear and blights with the plagues of a marriage hearse. I got one more for you. Anytime I'm bringing this up. Okay. This is called The Ghost of Section 8 Housing. I guess I should give a preface. Usually I don't like to explain things because you usually like, if a poet has to explain their poem, then they have already failed. But honestly, My friend a couple years ago, when he was alive, Bill, used to make fun of because when dark times, you must have dark fucking humor. And I was living in a slumlord's place and was about to fucking kill myself. And he was like, "Oh man, you don't want to do that. You'll be the ghost of fucking Section 8 housing." And then we'd go off on like wild ass tangents on what we'd see if I'm dead to come back. And I was like, my ghost sheet will be like covered in fucking cum and stitches and crack pipes and all sorts of shit because of where the fuck I was living. And even the roasters would be like, "Hey man, can you move the fuck out of the way?" So like, yeah, we'd get into this fucking thing. So my marrow was silenced by the chatter of fleas. I'm putting the dead in rooms they don't belong in, scratching the splints of bone divots, shaking thoughts of my devil's whispering. My eyes peel the paint. I taste the lead by sight. This mind is a haunting bastard lit under a dimming light. Nailed boards have breached my perception as gross phantoms have moving in. An old boarded house condemned by doubt, occupied by squatting spirits. Oh, what penury could be paid to send away these shrouds? What impenitent pence pulled from wallet could rescind them from this house? I am in doubt with economics. Thank you.
Yeah, I was muted. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. The ghost of Section 8. Yes.
Rod,
Well
Great,
played.
great last
wow.
line.
Yeah.
Great
I think
idea.
I think I've lived in that apartment before too.
Me too. I lived in a dump for sure. Oh my God. I'm now in a happy house. I'm pleased to report. So we have 3 takers so far for a second round. Okay, bye, Paul. Great having you with us. Thank you for sharing your magic with us tonight.
I'll
See
go in the
you,
second round as well.
see you next
Okay.
week.
Okay, no need, if you do not wish to perform, let me know, then I will assume everyone is willing to perform a second round. The list so far is Whisper Poet, Marilee, Debbie Segal, and Generalissimo. So we're going to start off with the wonderful Whisper Poet. Share your magic with us, baby.
Yeah. So I'm in the process of pulling poems out of notebooks and putting together for my first book. And I have one that I wrote in 2021 called Minivan Meltdown. I don't know why some people appear to have it so easy. You can't tell me they don't hurt. I do not believe that their lives have been free from pain and that somehow they have dodged the karmic bullets that the rest of us have lodged in our hearts as the shrapnel of life experiences. Karmic shrapnel. There is no surgical procedure to remove it. There is no healing those wounds. The best you can hope for is to stop bleeding, the damage and the pain invisible but never gone. You can't tell me they don't carry that shit the way you and I do. So why do they seem so well adjusted in their 4-year-old Honda minivans driving to Walmart for groceries on Saturday morning? I don't know the answer. I wish I did. I mean, I'm okay with my crazy. We've made friends and do things together at least once a week. It even sends me cards to remind me of special dates, like when you left me and when I miscarried my first child. No, I honestly don't know how some people seem to do life so effortlessly. They tell you about their problems.
You're muted. You're muted. You muted like right in the middle of it.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it was total coitus interruptus there.
That was coitus interruptus. Where was I? What line was I on?
You had just said something about trouble, I think.
I'll just start back at this one. You can't tell me they don't carry that shit the way you and I do. So why do they seem so well adjusted in their 4-year-old Honda minivans driving to Walmart for groceries on Saturday morning? I don't know the answer. I wish I did. I mean, I'm okay with my crazy. We've made friends and do things together at least once a week. It even sends me cards to remind me of special dates like when you left me and when I miscarried my first child. No, I honestly don't know how some people seem to do life so effortlessly. They tell you about their problems in that exasperated suburban white bread neighborhood tone of voice, as if the neighbor's dog shitting in their yard is of utmost importance and may result in murder. Who are they kidding? Murder is what happens when his fist hits so fast there's no moving out of the way. There's no shielding yourself from the crunch of your ribs collapsing into the shape of his steel-toed boot. You can't duck his fist when you can't see. Eye orbits are supposed to protrude, not invert. But they don't know about that kind of murder because they have it all together, don't they? Maybe they do. Until midnight, when everyone is in bed and she can fall apart in private, drop that mask and disintegrate into the floor, into the bed, into the bottle of vodka. Liquid courage, liquid lying to herself. He's not cheating. That lump is not cancer. The bank won't foreclose. You can't weigh hells, and just because I wear my crazy like a goddamn badge of honor on my sleeve does not mean that yours is not legit under your wardrobe of J.Crew clothes. You live your hell every moment, just like the rest of us. Every mile you drive in that Honda, another stone in your heart. The wheels of your Walmart grocery cart rolling towards the bread aisle like a tire track of acid burned across your back from the burdens you're too afraid to share. Yes, you have yours. I have mine. We're all victims of the traumas our ancestors cast down through the ages like curses upon our heads through DNA tainted with violence and hatred and pain and anger. We are all dying, and we are all kin. I'm sending you your membership card in the mail. Don't forget to register it online to earn points for rewards. Whisper.
Woohoo! Yeah, you live your hell every moment just like the rest of us. Really just powerful work.
Thank you. Are we doing
Everybody,
two or just one?
I guess just one. I have to pee really bad, so I'm gonna go for a second. But Marilee, will you bless us with some words?
I think I'm just gonna listen this time. I'm sorry I'm such a wimp tonight.
No, no problem. No worries. We never require you to perform. This is only if you want to, if you're feeling motivated. I want people to really want to do this. So please enjoy listening, Marilee. Then next up is Debbie Segal, who is always ready, I think, except when she's eating chicken soup.
That was such good. I wish you all had been here because I rock with cooking the chicken soup.
Would it be really wrong to nickname you Debbie Everready?
That'd be all right. What would be the initials? D-E-R. Der. Okay. I'm going to do a cover. I'm going to do a Rimbaud. I've been talking to Frog about how Frog's poetry reminds me of Rimbaud, but the rhymes really suck in the translations. So here's a prose poem, Frog, by Rimbaud, and the translation doesn't suck because they're not trying to rhyme. Anguish. Is it possible that she will have me? I'm sorry. Is it possible that she will have me forgiven for ambitions continually crushed? That an affluent end will make up for the ages of indigence? That a day of success will lull us to sleep on the shame of our fatal incompetence? Oh, palms, diamond, love, strength, higher than all joys and all fame. In any case, everywhere, demon, God, youth of this being, myself. that the accidents of scientific wonders and the movements of social brotherhood will be cherished as the progressive restitution of our original freedom. But the vampire who makes us behave or orders us to enjoy ourselves with what she leaves us, or in other words, to be more amusing, rolled in our wounds through the wearing air and the sea, in torments through the silence of the murderous waters and air, in tortures that laugh in the terrible surge of their silence.
I covered Rimbaud in French once for New Eurekan Poets Cafe a long time ago. Love, love, love his work. Great read, Debbie. Thank you so much for blessing the mic with us tonight. Next up, we have Generalissimo. Generalissimo, will you share some magic with us?
Yes, this is another piece from the book. Everything I think is all in my cover. I am a champion cyclist, not bicycles, emotions. I do it all. Ups, downs, inside outs, round and rounds, hills, valleys, twists, turns, loop-de-loops, and half pipes. Excuse me. I actually bore a hole through a solid granite mountain to create a shortcut I used only once. Yes, I am a champion cyclist. My face has been on the cover of Psychology Today thrice, for the 3 times I have won the Tour de France by simply writing out anxieties.
Yes, fantastic read. Super, super happy to have you with us, Generalissimo. I gotta buy your book. If you could, I'm putting my info in the chat on how to get in touch with me. I'm Magus 801. I want to buy a signed copy of everybody's book. I have a collection going. I like to advertise your book on my shows, and every show I go to that you're at, I will hold up your book. I love you all, and so it's Magus 801. I'm putting it in the chat. Magus 801 on Instagram. Contact me, please. Thank you. Next up, Martin Parker, Parquillian, will read for us again, yes?
Yes.
Delighted.
Thank you. Someone mentioned their mother. I think it was Terry. And that reminds me of this poem I don't think I've read here for a while, at least. And my mother's birthday is coming up in a couple weeks. This is called Strawberry Bavarian Pie. My mother taught me how to bake a pie crust and an oatmeal cake and other things I love to make, like talismans of food that take me back to times with love she'd share while sitting in a kitchen chair. The way to create these treasures rare, such comfort food with a subtle flair. Then when it was time, we'd fill the crust with, then when it was time, the crust we'd fill with strawberry Bavarian and let it chill. She'd whip the jello and cream until they'd almost set, and then with skill, she'd fold in berries that turned it bright pink, and down into the crust it'd sink. Its flavor like the missing link to joys of childhood lost, I'd think. But really, the memories are always there, like fleeting glimpses of my mother's care. Thank you very much.
Says I'm muted again. I do that all the time. I start talking while I'm on mute. Great read, Martin. Great way to honor your mom. Next up, give it up. Come on, open your mics. Let's give it up for Martin.
That's so nice, Martin. I was just there in the kitchen with you and your mom.
Beautiful, Martin.
Oh, thank you. I'm in my kitchen right now, thinking about her.
Wonderful. Nemo Soom is next up on the mic. Will you share your magic with us, Nemo? Are you there, brother? Okay, it looks like Nemo is taking a bathroom break, which is almost all I can think about right now. I'm dancing in my chair, but next up is
TMI,
Frog.
Gustav, TMI.
TMI. Okay. Next up is Frog Corpse then. Frog, are you ready?
Okay.
Oh, my. Oh, good.
Sorry. Yeah. Like I said, new phone. I've got, yeah, it's a bitch. All right. Do one more. What do we got here? All right. Okay. Looks like I landed on Vermilion Sting. In the blinds behind these eyes, shuttered and estuaried sleep, freckled pines sprawl to climb, bursting of hunter green. Oh, to dream a dream, as I too dream, floating down Lethan streams. A new dawn approaches, bespoke to the encroaching, erasing lone thoughts of ye. All tucked under pillow, tossing and turning, drench-clad in crinkled sheets. The revolution of this world with revulsion it holds towards the actions of what one sees. As the world grows cold, more tired, more lonesome, disparaged by the touch that they teach, an avoidance by storm from the motions they oar, beached by the mortar rowings that they bring, swathings and slosh, paddling thoughts, fighting backward and forward with grief, coughing up loam, alluvious groans, marooned on a moment, fatigued. Thank you.
Yeah, Frog. Fantastic read. Wow. Okay, everybody, give it up for Frog Corpse.
Woo!
Frog,
Yeah.
Charlie.
Debbie. Okay, next up, after getting Walter taken care of, is Nemo Soom.
Hey, yeah, sorry everyone, I had to step away because Walter needed to be taken care of. I'm just going to read a short poem that I've been working on. I've been struggling with persistent negative thoughts, and so this is a poem about that. This poem is called "Going on Faith." I'm monitoring swarm size, measuring wing shapes, noting markings. Are there figures in their feathers? I'm analyzing the waveforms of their screeches, looking for consistencies, hoping for patterns, trying to make some sense of their calls. I'm learning to navigate through the tangle of talons, trying to remember that the cuts are only ever skin deep, that I will heal eventually, that even when the sun is blotted out by beating wings, it's still there. Thank you.
That was powerful as fuck, Nemo. Right on. Okay. Yeah, we have had a great evening so far. This is coming to the end of round 2, but several people have done a mom poem, and I have a mom poem I'm going to close out the evening with. This
Hey,
is called-
Megas.
Yes.
If anybody else wants to stay and do some more stuff, you want to leave the room open? I'm down if anybody else wants to stay on and do some more.
I'm gonna take off after this so I can put
Well-
somebody else as co-host.
I know you want to go potty.
Yeah.
Anybody else up for more, or are y'all kind of cooked out?
I could do a mom poem, but I can wait till Gustav.
Gustav, actually.
I'm sorry, I always say that wrong.
Yes. So many people do. It's my pet peeve. Let me do mine and then we'll hear Marilee's. This is called A Heartfelt Thank You. My deepest and most loving thank you to my New Yorican Poets fam. My mother died right before the pandemic, and I went into a long and deep depression, a total creative blackout. I was so lost in a maze of grief and hopelessness, I wrote nary a word for a full year. The word acedia, a spiritual or mental sloth, was my constant companion. Then I found the Monday night online open mic, and my world opened to new creative horizons, stretching my atrophied artistic muscles and dragging me out from the darkness that had enveloped me like a comfortable straitjacket. There's nowhere else I would rather be than on New Yorican Poets Cafe stage, so free. My mother is with me on that stage in spirit and always in my heart, as you are, my poet tribe. Thank you so very much. Peace and blessings to you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Gustav.
Thank you.
Oh,
Wonderful.
thank you.
Okay, Marilee, will you bless us with some words?
Okay, well, you guys have probably all heard this one before, but it's one of the ones I've been shopping around this week. So it's about my Iowa visit, visiting mom in her nursing home. In the activity room with mom, the minister spins gospel records. Leave your anxieties with Jesus. I consider believing again. I stroke her arm, gaze into her face. When she smiles, I choke back tears. I say, "That's a nice smile. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mom." Thanks for listening yet again.
Okay, wow, what a great evening of spectacular poetry. I want to thank each and every one of you who has come to grace the mic tonight with your magic. Whisper is up for being co-host and continuing on with more poetry, but I'm done. So I will make Whisper co-host, and anybody who wants to stay.
Thank you, Megan, for a wonderful evening. This has
Yeah,
been another
everybody
great
open your
night.
mics for everybody. Everybody
Yeah.
open your mics for
Yay,
everybody.
everybody!
Yay,
Good show,
everybody.
Wonderful night.
So nice.
Good show. Good show.
Gustav, why don't you just go take a leak and then come back?
Because I'm hungry and I'm tired and I want to be done.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a kind of an upper limit on the amount of great poetry I can hear in one night.
That's
after,
real.
Yeah, after about 2.5 hours, I'm just done.
That's
So,
real.
yeah. So okay, Whisper Poet, you're now the co-host. I will say goodbye to you all. Take
Good night,
care.
Gustav.
Much
Love you
love.
all.
Much love. I'm having a Girl Scout cookie milkshake. It's really good.
I think we should
Oh,
just have a cipher. But I guess everybody else wants to keep reading.
a cipher?
That's what they call when the recording stops at the Thursday New Eurekan. And people just shoot the breeze, check in. Check in. I never get the chance to check in with any of y'all. I just hear you guys like spitting words. So kind of
I'm
special.
definitely open for that. Definitely just
Well,
hanging out.
yeah, I especially never get to check in with you, Nemo, and like some of the stuff you read is just so like it lands on me really intensely, and I appreciate what you do. So I
Well,
guess
thank
you
you.
probably know that. Was
Oh,
that a new
I really
piece?
appreciate that.
Sure.
Thank you.
Was that a new piece you read about like the bed telling you to Wait, am I conflating your piece with Brian's piece? Ah, I need
It's
it in
okay.
writing in front of me. What did you read tonight that was?
I read the piece about measuring, about studying the mind harpies and recognizing that
Yes.
that their impact is temporary.
Yes, okay. I've been doing similar types of like self-reflection and introspection and types of things like that. It's really nice to know that we can rewire. We can
Yeah.
rewire. So
My dad needed, he had persistent negative thoughts too. I mean, he never said that, but I know that he did, listening to him. He
mm,
believed that if he could get he was a narcissist, and he believed that if he could get everyone to worship him enough, if he got enough praise, that would be enough to take care of those negative thoughts, that would make that go away. And it ate him. It ate him. So, you know, I don't want to, I never wanted to fall into that. So I feel like I'm trying a different solution, as it were.
Ooh, thank you for sharing that. So like when people are talking about how amazing like their moms are and whatnot, and I still have my mom, she's 91. I've literally recently, like a month ago, made peace, and I decided to do the thank you, you know, that time that I was blah blah blah, and you were kind to me, like thank you, and putting on like putting on this show of like thank you, because if you know if you're 91, it's past time for being self-reflective and introspective. I had tried to get her to do some of that, and it just wasn't in her toolkit. So banging my head against that wall of like, why did you blah blah blah? Like, so now it's just time for me to you know, express the you know the good qualities she had. And I had a nice talk with her last time she could kind of talk, and now she's kind of like not doing much talking. She caught COVID at 91 as a shut-in.
Wow.
And so now she has like long COVID. They're like, oh, it's going to take a really long time for her to recover from this. And I'm like, who says that about a 91-year-old? But the yeah, the rewiring and stuff is very effective.
So you felt like she responded well?
Yeah. Well, I got the idea from a friend of mine who was like, his dad was you know, he says his dad was kind of a narcissist, and he said one day he just decided, okay, my dad's fading. Hello. And I'm like, and he goes, so I'm just gonna say, hey dad, that time that boy bullied me and took my fishing pole, and you bought me a new fishing pole, that was really nice. And so I thought, yeah, I can definitely pick out some good things. And it was just really, it was good to be able to do that. But mostly like the way I got to being able to do that was doing some intense journaling with this book. Maybe you know about this book, Nemo, called It Didn't Start With You, or maybe It Didn't Begin With You by Mark Wolin. It's about ancestral trauma, like
Generational
epigenetics.
trauma.
Well, yeah, it's almost like people that had something happen to them in their life, and then they trace it back to something their grandfather had happened to them, and they're almost like reenacting like this pattern. I mean, it's really bizarre. So I did all these questions that the book had, and I wrote all this stuff, and I came up with some things because I know a little bit about family history, and you can kind of smooth out some of that anger and rage towards them when you figure out like, oh, somebody way back when had this unresolved thing, and somehow it gets put into their descendants. So that book is a game changer. It's one of the books that's really a game changer.
Yeah, I have it. The entry pulled up here on Amazon. I'll have to check that book out. It's fast, cool.
I borrowed it from the library, but I kind of probably will go back and get another, you know, get one to own, so I can
Yeah.
dog ear it and write in it and all that.
That's the there's a lot of books out there, but those ones that really help, they really help. I've had some books that were real breakthroughs for me dealing with my parents and myself as a result of my parents. So yeah.
Say hi to everyone. Here's Bruce.
Whisper, do you have the ability to stop the recording?
Oh, were you recording this whole time? Oops.
I didn't know that either.
I didn't know we were. I thought we stopped.
Oh,
Let's see. Where is the record function?
I would hope that whoever's doing the editing will just cut it off, but
Yeah. I will stop. Okay, stop recording.